everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we'll be interviewing Bryant Roloff, President and owner and CEO of Roloff Real Estate, and we will be asking him a few questions about starting and owning your own Airbnb. Without further ado, let's get to it.
That's correct. Step one always has to be finding the deal, analyzing the deal. Even before step one, the pre-step one, you're going to want to figure out what knowledge that you need and analyze where you may have good knowledge but not great knowledge. Then make sure that you're talking to people that understand the industry, understand what you're trying to get into, and try to beef up your knowledge before getting into it. Number two, of course, finding the deal. Finding the deal is so crucial. If you can find something off market, even better. And when I'm saying off market, I mean something that is not listed on the MLS and something that you wouldn't necessarily have a real estate agent go and acquire for you. That's gonna trim down some of your cost of transaction. Real estate agent, is going to charge anywhere from 5 to 6% per transaction. So that's going to take money off of the top of what you're trying to make on the real estate side of it. And you want to make sure that you find a house in a location that is going to be good for Airbnb. So again, two things that I look at, from a real estate side, I look at what the comps are, so you can look at other houses in the area with similar floor plans and similar square footage, similar attributes as far as updated features and things like that, and get a good idea of what the price of the house should be, what it should sell for, to see if you're in the ballpark. And then the next thing is to make sure, if you're going to list it on Airbnb, to go ahead and look at similar comps in that space. So go to Airbnb. I'll usually go and click on other houses if I'm looking for a house, so other 2 or 3 bedroom houses, depending on what I have, of similar size and similar functionality. Is it on a busy street and you have a kind of a quieter street? Is it a house that has some attributes that mirror your house? Well, that's going to be a good representation. I usually get 2 or 3 of those and see what kind of price point that I'm going to hit. And then, just as a quick ballpark, I will just times my nightly rate by about 20. So thinking that I'm going to rent it about 2/3 of the month. About 66% of the time I'm thinking I'm going to rent my house. And so I find that average price. I find what type of furnishings, what type of features that house has, and try to mimic that as close as possible. And then I base my financial model on about 66% occupancy. And I find that I can pretty regularly hit that. I'm usually around a lot higher than that, but I know that on a low end, always using conservative numbers, that if I can make that model make sense with the loan and the mortgage and all the expenses that I have, that I can kind of get a ballpark of what my cash flow is going to be. So that would be step 2, is to try to do your comps. Number 3 in setting up an Airbnb is finding, after you source the deal, finding the right financing. So going to the bank, getting that loan for the house, that's a huge process that basically takes anywhere from a month and a half to 2 months to get completely done. You'll have to have all your paperwork in order, meaning you have to have your income statements, your any sort of expenses that you may have, your credit card bills, your any sort of financial accounts that you have. You're going to have all that ready to go to the bank to get that loan to get the process started. Once you have that house, then it's just go time, right? Now it's the time that you throw off the gloves and you get that sweat equity, what we were talking about earlier. So making sure that you can go back and do that work that you said you're going to do. A lot of that is going to happen in the pre-planning phase. So as you're acquiring the loan, you're waiting on people to approve this or that. that month and a half to 2 months, you're also looking at the projects that you need to do for that house. Also, your inspection comes back. So you get an inspection for the house. You're going to see the problems that you have. You're going to need to make sure that the problems that you want to address, that you're researching how to get that done, that you're figuring out what materials cost and trying to acquire those materials before you acquire the house. And also the jobs that you can't do but need to get done by a professional, something like electricity. We never want to touch that for obvious reasons. Sometimes drywall can be very complicated to get it perfectly. I know that I'm a perfectionist, so if I do drywall, it's just going to be lumpy, it's going to be weird, I'm not good at it, so I'm going to want a professional for that. Plumbing, some of the major things that require licenses and stuff of this nature, HVAC, those are things that I'm going to want to set up people to go and take care of before I even acquire the house, so that when day one hits, I have that house, I have the people in there, I'm managing projects, people are in and out, and I can get that thing, I can worry about getting that thing furnished and fixed and flipped and onto the market as soon as possible. And then finally, it is flipping it on the market. So once you get it furnished, once you acquire what you need for the place to be all furnished and ready, once the house is turnkey, at that point you're making it turnkey. So once it's turnkey, then you worry about the pictures. Of course, you're not probably going to have enough money. If you do have enough money to hire a professional photographer, I would recommend that. So hiring a professional photographer to take wonderful pictures, even hiring a copywriter. People underestimate kind of the power of having good copy. And what I mean by copy is having good descriptions of things and inviting language that makes people want to book your place. So having good copy, having good pictures, and having a cohesive sort of offering to your customers from day one is going to lead you to booking your first customer. That's going to be a really, really good feeling, because it's a proof of concept. You've gone and purchased something from scratch, envision what it was going to look like, made it happen, and then you get your first booking. It feels so wonderful. And then from there, a list of things need to happen for that next phase. But that gets you from basically not having a property to having a turnkey, ready to go Airbnb.